I was just kind of getting in a flow and it felt great. And for a while, it felt fabulous. Like my to-do list was diminishing. And then I had the thought, it'd be great to go out for a walk. Oh, but I have so much to do. So now all of a sudden I'm in dialogue, right?
You're watching the Wow podcast. I'm Jennifer Robin. Full disclosures in the description. Today on the show, we have Joy Taylor. She's a spiritual mentor to leaders and a companion guide in awakening. With a background in health, holistic healing, and personal transformation, she weaves body, mind, and spirit into her retreats, courses, and women's circles. Joy has spent over 2 decades guiding people through growth, healing, and renewal cycles, helping them awaken to their vitality, deepen self-trust, and lead with authenticity. So today, we're going to chat about rest as a radical act and how to redefine productivity for soulful living. Welcome, Joy.
Thank you for having me, Jennifer. I'm really glad to be here and I'm enjoying listening to your conversations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For listeners who don't know you, tell us the story of why you got started with health, holistic healing, and your own personal transformation.
Yeah, well, as far as I can recall, it really just felt like I came in this lifetime to be a healer, to be involved in transformation. And I believe that is true because one of my soul curriculums, one of my big life lessons is I have a really sensitive body. And so I also have a spinal curvature. So I developed over time a lot of ways and tools that I just needed to take care of myself. I needed to take care of myself. And I noticed that the sensitivity of my body would like some food and didn't like other foods. And I began to have a lifelong love affair and at times frustration with this physical form. So that's part of it. You know, at the deepest level, I just feel like it's what I'm here to be doing because it's been my own challenge. So it makes a lot of sense to help other people.
I hear that so much in this space, that those of us that went into any form of healing arts at all, emotional, physical, whatever, it's almost always because we were struggling with something ourselves and like looking for answers.
Yeah.
I've heard that almost every single guest.
Well, you know, I also do a lot of business coaching and I'm constantly talking to my clients who are coming out in their profession, in their purpose, in their calling. And often we are helping the people that we used to be.
Exactly.
And that's when we're integrity. I know I've evolved this far and I can help other people move along the journey as a companion guide. I do want to say that I also grew up exposed to health. I grew up in a Unity church, which is very metaphysical. My father was dreaming of past lives and looking at the stars with me and getting me to think for myself. So I was very fortunate to have an open-minded and big-hearted father. And my mom was a nutritionist and she was cutting edge back in the 70s, rice cakes, tofu, you know, just really doing our best. So I was exposed. And then with the scoliosis, I had the pain. So my mom was brilliant in seeking out massage therapy, chiropractic. So when I received it, I very early on said, oh my goodness, I want to be able to give this to other people. And my first career was massage. I've evolved into mostly doing energy work and transformational mentoring with people. But my very first career was body work.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it's all body, right? It's and I feel like
it's all connected.
We're going to talk about it today because we got to take care of these temples.
Yeah,
for them
absolutely.
to be of full service. I know, I've been listening to you, Jennifer, and, you're modeling it in so many ways.
Yeah. So let's talk about rest a little bit and why you think of that as a radical act.
Well, I don't know if others can relate. I kind of think a lot of us can relate. I I found myself getting into a pattern of productivity defined as achieving. And to the extent of overriding how I felt, overriding my body, my emotional well-being, just driving through it. And I found myself doing that in my career. Oh man, mostly in my 40s. I'm 55 now. And of course, I fell into exhaustion to the point where my body was just telling me, you've got to rebalance and rest. So why is it so radical? Because in general, when we think about success, so often we think about achievements and getting things done and really
Go, go, go.
yeah. So and on the visible realm, the tangible realm, it might look like when we do something, we get results. But in the intangible realm, the invisible realms, the energy, our
Mm.
relaxation, our ability to rest sends out a call. It allows us to be more present and therefore emanate and shine and be more attractive for the opportunities that are for our highest good. So it's radical because we're taught to look and see and have proof. And this is an invitation to trust, to relax, and to
Mm.
receive, which, by the way, is all in the feminine. We all have the masculine and feminine, but rest is leaning in and even leaning back to the feminine that is just opening up to receive. So our culture tends to be more focused, it has been on the masculine side of men and women, but we're shifting. And so I just invite people to be a student of it, right? Just be a student of rest. Don't take my word for it. Experiment.
So, how do you encourage people to get started, I guess, making rest more of a priority because we're all so conditioned to go, go, go? And I know a lot of people, if they take even a Saturday and just kind of relax, they feel lazy, like I should be doing something,
I'm so
you
glad you
know?
said that. It's true. Like we're riddled, people tend to be
Yeah.
riddled with guilt because
Hmm.
maybe growing up, the teachers gave us the stars when we did something, right? The parents said, good girl, good boy, when we did something.
Did something.
Who
Yeah.
ever said, nice job when we took a nap? You know? Well,
Yeah.
actually, maybe now and again. You slept.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so how would I invite people? And it is an invitation. It's an experimentation. I would say anything that we bring our awareness to, we have the opportunity to then be at choice. And so we can be deliberate in experimenting what would happen if I gave myself more renewal time and then to try it. I mean, I have lots of practical things I write in my book about inner honoring. It's my second chapter. And I encourage people to experiment with having roughly 2 minutes every hour, 20 minutes every day, and 2 hours every week.
That sounds pretty doable, right?
That you're
Yeah.
in receptive mode, which can look
Mhm.
like a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm laying down in bed and resting, because some people lay down in bed and their mind is busy and they're anxious. So it could be that the renewal is dancing or swimming, but it's anything that puts us more in a state of not being the doer, but
Yeah.
allowing energy to just be circulating in our body, in our nervous system, letting things rest. But practically, I would say try that. Try 2 minutes, 22 hours, and experiment. Keep a journal, see what happens. Find those occasions, become aware of when it's a push and when it's relaxed. I teach and I really facilitate in one of my programs with visionary women. The focus is the energy from which we create,
Okay.
not what we create. So that's another kind of mind shift. Imagine focusing on a more grounded, peaceful joy. a more easeful energy. Imagine producing from a more restful place. Then the energy becomes more important than the form,
Okay.
which is a
Interesting.
lovely way to live in my
Yeah.
experience. The more I'm in my energy, the more the miracles happen, the opportunities show up, the clients are interested, the circumstances relax, surprise gifts come my way. I'm curious, Jennifer, how you would answer that question.
Yeah.
How to encourage or invite people into more rest without guilt, because you brought up guilt.
Yeah. I think a lot of us feel guilt, and you can feel it from other people in your household too. I'm a big advocate of taking just a little bit of time and journaling in the morning,
Great.
as a way to, kind of start the day and get moving and organize your mindset. And just, if you have someone in your household that kind of is giving you dirty looks like, why aren't you up and moving and doing things yet? If you happen to have a partner who maybe has a different, I don't want to say different mindset, but we're all different. So, for example, my husband gets up probably an hour, at least an hour before I do, because he's a morning person and I am not. So he wakes up raring to go and is outside, watering the garden, feeding the chickens, and I'm still like trying to become a person. So, something like that, somebody might look at you and be like, why are you just chilling right now instead of doing whatever's on your list? So I would say I liked what you said about, starting with just 2 minutes. The 2 minutes is I think doable for anybody. Just 2 minutes every hour. Just, walk away from your laptop, look outside, do
Yes.
something, take a few deep breaths,
Well, all of those are exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
how can I unplug? How can I
Yes.
unwind? How can I actually let the brain relax? Like, if your
Mm,
work is in front of a computer and it requires a lot of the brain, I mean, we know neuroscience. We know now from science, and we always knew from nature that there's
yeah.
a season of effort or movement, action, and a season of rest. And so we give our neural pathways a time to chill. We give our nervous system a time to come back into the rest and digest phase, as opposed
Mhm.
to the fight, flight, freeze, or the constant go. So breathing, you said, I love that. Just
Yeah.
pausing, maybe just stopping and saying, how am I doing? Maybe just being with feelings. See, feelings and the emotional depth, also feminine, all lives in the land of
Mhm.
rest. The land of rest, we can call it, right? It is. It's the relaxation of softening and emotional attunement. I know for me, when I do that, I get my greatest inspirations. That's why I say rest is a revenue stream.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So, I mean, if I've got anyone in my life saying, "Why are you resting?" Which I don't, but if I
Yeah.
did, I'd be like, "Hey, honey, this is how I produce income."
Yeah.
I'm just opening up for the downloads. But it's true for
Yeah.
me. That's when they come. I get like an insight for a new program, or my
Mhm.
husband and I are writing a book, and it just dawns on me in my quiet.
Yeah.
I get a revelation of a way to explain something. So, and yeah, and then it's just also sometimes in that 2 minutes, um it might be awkward. It might be, I don't know what I'm doing, but that's
Oh,
interesting.
especially to begin with for people that are, not used to
Yeah.
spending time on themselves and just taking
Yeah.
those 2 minutes.
But
Yeah.
we're after pleasure. We're after delight. So it's like, if you love flowers, go out and smell a flower. If you have
Mm.
a dog and you want to pet it, if you have a best friend and you want to just tell her you love her and send her a text. I know that's technology, but now we're accessing the heart. Now we're into our feelings, and we know, gratitude and appreciation and all of that following more of what opens us up and excites us will calm
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Yeah. And what you just said also makes me think, by sending the text to the person that popped into your mind, you're also you're shifting your entire vibration. You're lifting your level up to, like you said, one of gratitude and love and joy, which is probably different than the vibration you were at plugging away at your computer or working on something,
Yeah.
you know?
And what happens with that? I mean, this is in
Mhm.
Happy for No Reason. There've been studies on this, but people who are in the more elevated happy states, they tap into synchronicity and coincidence. That's when suddenly I think, oh, I'm going to go to the post office because I'm in a relaxed,
Right.
receptive. I follow my intuition and I run into someone I've been thinking about, and we get to have a conversation that we've been wanting to have, right?
Yeah.
And then back to revenue stream, it also could be the synchronicity of showing up at an event, making a connection that turns into one of your greatest referral resources
Yep.
or a new client. So that's why I say people study it, like notice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then since we're kind of talking about the 2-minute little resets right now, but it applies for the 20 and the 2 hours.
Mhm.
It's not about the form. It's not about what it looks like. So we hear about self-care all the time. I call it soul care, but it's unique to you. I mean, for one person, it might be a tub, but it might not be for you. It might be working slowly in the garden, but dilly-dallying, because we're back to not focusing on producing. It might be,
Right.
yeah. But once again, it's getting in that feeling of not being the doer.
And
Does that make sense?
it does.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah.
And I want to pick up something. I totally forgot this when I was reading your bio. You mentioned Happy for No Reason, and that was one of my favorite books. I know it's an older one, and at the time I found it, it was older. I found it like in the public library. I forget what I was looking for, but it's a really, really good book. And I think I read that you're like are you a practitioner or you're certified? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, Marcy Shimoff, who wrote the book,
yeah.
yeah, she's become a friend of mine. And we
Wow.
met about 6 years ago, and she was getting her certification up and running. Maybe it was 7 years ago. And she asked if I would teach the module on business to her trainers.
Oh, wow. That's great.
And so then I also chose to go through the training and get
Yeah.
certified. But I just love her book. I love everything in it. It's so
It's a hidden gem and it's
right.
older and people
Yeah.
you don't hear about it. So that I remember I was like, "Whoa, wait, she knows this?"
I saw you when I mentioned it, pop
My
up.
brain was like, "Wait, wait."
Yeah, and it's positive psychology
Mhm.
shared in a real substantial, simple way that we can all relate to. But it's
Yeah.
really attending to our home of happiness, and that we don't have to have external dictate if we're happy or not. That we can
Yeah.
find that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do
I
feel like
found that
we find that when we balance the rest in our lives.
yeah.
When we don't, there can be resentment. Why am I working so hard? Or there can be that
Yes. Yep.
adrenaline and overdrive. And that doesn't produce the same results either.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I found that book. I don't remember the time period, but I do remember I was literally Googling. This is before I was into energy healing and all that. I was like Googling how to be happy. Like how the heck, like how do you get through the ugh and come out the other side? And that book introduced me to so many things that years later, like qigong and just so many things that at the time I read it, that I first read it, I kind of was like, oh, that's kind of weird or whatever. And I just keep reading. She would briefly introduce something, but yeah. Yeah, sorry. Sorry to go off on that
I
tangent,
love
but
that we just went on that.
I can't believe you know the author because, man, I need to thank her.
I'll thank her. I'll thank her. I'll send her the link to our podcast conversation. She'll love that we're mentioning her. Yeah, she's been a great business mentor for me as well, and just a very generous soul.
Mm,
And that is one of the greatest things I learned from her is her generosity with all her colleagues.
yeah.
Yeah, and her company. She has a generosity, and there in that there's reciprocity.
Yes, there
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This morning, I'm like, okay, here I go. I'm going to be doing this conversation with you about a topic that is continually something I'm learning. And I do believe that we're always evolving and growing. And so it is a big part of what I offer people in my programs and my mentoring is just this whole relaxation, resting, balance.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to yoga this morning and I was just thinking about how even in the practice of yoga, a really good yoga practice is the active poses followed by the rest. And in the rest, there's time to integrate.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to throw that out as another benefit of rest, and is that we get to fully integrate our experiences of whatever we've just been through. And another piece of rest and why it shows up, for example, in yoga, is when we stop eating, stop, doing, stop
Yeah.
exercising our muscles. And I will say when we stop eating, this is part of it too. The body has a chance to just wake up in its own innate ability to heal itself. But when we're so busy, it's hard for the body to be functioning in all the ways that are firing and wiring and being asked of us. It's busy
Yeah.
doing that. Whereas when we slow down, and that's why we need sleep, right? But we can give ourselves these little micro naps or just tune out times just to let the body calibrate as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you ever dream of being a better mom, friend, or person? You're not alone. Life happens, and even your best intentions can fall off track. That's why I created Balanced Life Warrior, a no fluff, practical course that helps you actually make progress toward the goals you have for your life. There's nothing overwhelming here, just tools that actually fit into your busy day. You belong here. Head to whiterobinwellness.com to get started today. That's whiterobinwellness.com. So, talk some more about these little micro rest times that you encourage people to kind of weave through the day.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we touched on a bit of it like in those 2 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
but I think awareness, micro rest, maybe you didn't even plan on it, but you're doing whatever you're doing, maybe going out and running errands, you run into someone and you embrace each other. And you notice that you're receiving their hug, not just
Yeah.
giving yours. Or someone compliments you in town or on Zoom, and you take it in and say, thank you. So, any moment that we're receiving and we're not busy, that's a micro. It could just be wow, I just took that in. It could be 30 seconds. It could be a moment with your pet. So, we're doing it all the time. If we listen to our bodies, we'll do it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember reading when I was young. I was probably 16 years old. I picked up this little book. It was called Think. And one of the pages, it was just quotes, one thoughtful something. And one of them was your ability to relax is in direct proportion with your ability to trust life.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because when we relax, then we get to trust. Like trust that things will be getting done. Maybe because we're resting, someone else will do the dishes, or because we're resting, someone else will do something in the team. So and because we rest, we can trust that the body knows how to heal itself.
Yeah.
So it made sense to me. Otherwise, we're guarded, right? When we feel safe, we let down. So a key to learning how to relax more is to maybe look at in what ways you are trusting that life is for you. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And what would you say to someone who has a full-time job and is, at an environment other than their home, which is probably not as peaceful and probably does not lend itself as easily to taking these kind of, like someone that's working in a cubicle
Yeah.
even if they peek out and look, there's just cubicles everywhere. They can't even get to a window. Like,
Yeah.
what could they do for their 2 minutes?
Breathe, breathe, breathe. Look out the window, go for a walk. I had one of those jobs for
Yeah.
about 6 months, and I took my breaks. So many people worked through them, but I clocked it, and I went outside
Yeah.
and I went for walks during my breaks, and I just kept breathing and I kept hydrating. So I'd be going to the bathroom, which hydrating is good anyway.
I was gonna say that's important also.
Yeah.
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 And then maybe having a bunch of a lot of people do, but decorate your space. It's yours. Own it. Make your
Mm,
own sanctuary. How can you bring what matters to you there? Have your essential oils. I do. I mean, they're right here, right?
yeah.
Have your oil, smell your oil, whatever it is that can keep, like you said, the vibration going. Those are some
Yeah.
of my thoughts. What would you add?
Maybe bringing in some nature, like a plant or potted flowers or something that will, especially if you can't get to a window. That back when I had jobs that I would go to, um, if I couldn't see a window, even like in the distance, I just, man, it really affected me. So having a plant or something near me that I can see, and yeah, like you, I remember always taking my breaks. I would actually sometimes eat while I was working and then take my half hour or hour and go walk and get out in nature because it was just too important not to miss, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and nature, wow. I mean, I'm so glad you brought in nature because it teaches us how important it is to go dormant, have times of being dormant, times of growth, day and night,
Yep.
the seasons. It teaches us how on this planet it's important to do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do a whole episode on nature.
Oh, I live in Mount Shasta, California. I am surrounded by nature and
Yeah.
I am in it all the time, whether it's swimming in the lakes or hiking in the hills or snowshoeing. Yeah, me too. Me too.
But like you said, and using it as I don't want to say a learning tool, but it kind of is. It's kind of a reminder to me
Mhm.
of the different seasons and how I have a giant, well, not giant, I have a small forest behind my backyard that I walk in every day. And just, the difference between everything kind of dying back in winter and it looks so bare and naked. And then in the spring, as everything starts to bud, it's so exciting and just, and I'm in New England, so we get the everything turns all these beautiful colors in the fall. So yeah, like I said, you can see why if I didn't have a window when I was working, it was just it was not good.
Yeah,
It was not good.
I I know that it's funny how some people need science, right, to understand how
Mhm.
important nature is, and, I guess there's a couple new podcasts and researchers and research projects out about the benefits of being in nature for our physiology, especially,
Yeah.
that are measurable. And
Mhm.
I think it's great the science is happening. I just probably am just like you. I mean, ever since a little girl, the way that I found peace was to get out and play in the woods. I just had to do it or roll in the grass or find a
Yeah.
caterpillar. Um, but I want to really acknowledge the struggle, if we want to call it that, is real. That we generally live in a pretty bombarded
Yes.
Busy, noisy reality. There's a lot of inputs. There's a lot of technology coming at us. And so this is also about having clear boundaries with ourselves. So people talk about making boundaries with others. I'm always like, well, just start with yourself. Start making agreements
Yeah.
and having commitments and being able to say no to like the foods that aren't good for you, or say no to the temptation to get caught up in social media, or the temptation to let the pressures of others get in the way of what we know we need to do for ourselves. So whether in an office building or a manual, physical, hard job, or in a home office or whatever, I think a lot of people, whatever their environment, are having to re-look at how we want to live our lives in a culture that's fast and doing. My husband and I take tech-free days.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that for quite a while, maybe 2 a month, where I just the phone, it's just none of it.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that because I have not gone fully tech free, but this weekend I went an entire day without touching my laptop, which for me is like I was reading, I was outside, I got halfway through the day and I like was tempted to check email or something and I'm like, "No, I think I just want to put it aside." And then we got to the end of the day and I said to my husband, I'm like, "You know what? I think I want to do this every weekend. Like just pick a day." But I did use my phone. I did use my phone, but I didn't stare at my laptop at all the entire day. And it felt so good, because I figured what's urgent? Like, right? If somebody reaches out to me, what, they can't wait a day? Yes, they can, you know?
I'm 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 curious, it felt good while you were doing it. How did it
Yep.
feel the next day to go back?
I didn't miss anything. Like there was nothing that needed doing. It's one of those things that if I turn the laptop on, there's always something I could be doing. Or as you mentioned, social media, you can always get sucked into something that maybe you don't need to be doing, but it takes your time because you want to catch up, you want to see what's happening, you want to follow the news or whatever. I could open LinkedIn to look for updates and then end up reading all the top stories, which I really didn't need to do, that kind of thing. But yeah. And for the phone, I don't know if I mentioned this on the show or not yet, but I took social media completely off my phone like 2 years ago. And it was a really good move because I'd find myself when I was bored or like when you just had a moment flipping open the phone and, scrolling Facebook or Instagram, and it became a habit. And I was like, I don't want to be on here this much. And for like, I'm going to say 2 weeks after I removed those apps, I quickly realized how much I'd been using them because I'd open the phone and go, oh yeah, and shut it. Open the phone again, half an hour later. Oh yeah, it's not there. Anyway.
What a great
Anyway.
what a great what a great experiment, what a great experiment. Yeah.
I know that there are people, I mean, I've got friends and family who physically could not do that. They're on social so much. So,
Well, and I wonder, yeah. And
right?
that might be true until it's not. I
Yeah.
find that we can do whatever we choose to do if we want to, if we
Oh, that's true.
really,
Yeah.
really, really, really want to. And that's why I do encourage people to experiment. That's why I asked you, how'd you feel the next day? Because in my experimentation of my life, I can take a weekend of just rest or a day and really dive into it, like really allow it. I am so excited Monday to get back to my computer. Like I can't wait. I'm actually
Oh, okay.
excited about it as
Hmm.
opposed to maybe, oh, I got to work again or resentful or I need to stay on top of this, all those other thoughts that can be habitual. Oh, I
Yeah.
wanted to talk about thoughts and self-talk. So you talk
Yes.
about other people in your life saying, "What are you doing? You shouldn't be resting."
Yeah.
Well, okay, I can hear my mom when I was a little kid inside my head saying, "Get out, it's sunny out, you should be playing outside." Or, "Why didn't you clean your room?" Or, "You're not," whatever, right? And God bless her.
Yeah.
She also, I have other voices where she's super loving. But what happens psychologically is we can tend to then internalize that voice, and it becomes our own voice
Oh,
and
yeah,
how we
absolutely.
talk to ourselves. So I could give myself a guilt trip, just as, so
Yep.
self-talk. I could also make a choice to reparent myself, and that I do say to myself after I take 20 minutes, which is it, and I love it now, to go for a walk or lay down and do a meditation. If I take 20 minutes here and there, not every day, but often in the middle of the week, and I come out of it and I say, "Good job, Joy. Good job."
Right.
And I love myself for it. Or, "I'm so glad you went to yoga. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for not getting in the pattern anymore of checking something else off the list," which is a dopamine hit. But instead, going back, relaxing, and being able to just let the body feel good. Oxytocin, serotonin.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think that's an important reminder for us to acknowledge when we're doing whatever, anything for our self-care that we wouldn't normally do, because so many of us, if not all of us, have, like you said, those voices in our head, or in the work that I do, we call it core values and core beliefs that are in there that you don't necessarily want in there, to kind of counteract that by praising, like you're saying, "I went to yoga today, yay me."
Exactly.
We have to do those things because nobody else is going to cheer us on for that, right?
Well, and I also have the voice inside my head. This happened yesterday where I was just kind of getting in a flow and it felt great. And for a while, it felt fabulous. Like my to-do list was diminishing.
Yeah.
And then I had the thought, it'd be great to go out for a walk. Oh, but I have so much to do. So now all of a sudden I'm in dialogue, right? Right. So then the internal voice that is this new mother inside of me, is this most loving part of myself, the wise one. She comes in my own imagination, and this was just yesterday. She's like, "You are going to probably feel so good if you just go out and walk, and all of this work will be here for you when you get back. And you'll be able to do your work from a more relaxed state, my word is grounded, easeful joy. That's my
Mm,
energy from which I want to create. I made a commitment this year to that. So then I'll be more grounded, easeful, and in joy, so that my creations, my work, my synchronicity is all lined up. But that
yeah.
voice is encouraging me to also do it, and then thanking me when I do it. So self-talk, if people are struggling, it's like activate that one inside of you that is clear, that not just scientifically, but through your own direct experience, you probably have reference points. Anyone listening, we all have reference points for when we took a nap or rested or let ourselves have a really renewing vacation where we didn't do anything or have a bunch of plans. We remember how it felt to come out of that. If we really relax into it, if we really trust
Yeah.
that we can let go of control, right? Because there is a certain amount of surrender, which can be a big word, for the whole act of resting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit about the work that you do. What would make somebody a good candidate to work with you?
Hmm.
Who do you work with specifically?
Yeah.
Like, tell us a little bit about that,
I
what it looks like.
I love that you asked that, and it's really become more and more clear over time. As I grow, it's been shifting, but for sure, I work primarily with women who have a clear devotion to their healing and awakening. And they are already on a path of growth. However, are finding, like we all do, like a challenge in life or a transition they feel on the edge of, women and men, but primarily women who they're ready to have a container, whether it's group or one-on-one. They're looking for a companion guide. And that's what I get to be for people. I facilitate and support people in their own revelations and their own choices by asking and listening, and then sometimes telling story and all those good things that we do. Most of my clients are visionary. They're creators. They're doing something because I also have a business background. Some of them are
Mhm.
building their own businesses. And some of them are wanting to create a relationship better than they've ever had, whether they're single or in a relationship. That's another one of my favorite sweet spot places to be of support. My husband and I do that together. And he does it. He has couples counseling, and I do a lot of work with individuals that want to look at strengthening intimacy in relationship, but doing it from a soul perspective. There's always just a little bit of an energetic perspective to how I work.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that very much today. That the awakening part of what you do that I mentioned when I introduced you, but tell us a little bit about how that is that part of this other coaching, or is that like its own thing?
Absolutely. It's so part of everything. And that's what I feel
Okay.
like is my strong suit, is that awakening, meaning becoming more conscious, becoming more enlightened, if you will, which just means becoming maybe more developed and evolved in our ability to love, and
Mhm.
also our ability to speak truth and be in truth and integrity. But that life is a spiritual practice. And so building a business is a spiritual practice. Improving a relationship, dating, sacred preparation, healing of self to be ready for a relationship, it's a spiritual practice. So for me, awakening is what we're doing. And then we get to have, like, I love it. It's like when people come into our lives that might be challenging, there's your spiritual teacher right there in
Yeah.
front of you, whatever triggers us. And I know you know this from EFT and all
Hmm.
of your training, whatever triggers us emotionally, there's our path to awakening, because it's lighting up an area that isn't healed or integrated yet. So awakening is like at the depth of everything that's really going on in the work that I tend to do with people. And then meanwhile, they get all these great results, like finding a partner, having a totally renewed vision with their current partner, growing their business, getting more clients, sharing their poetry with the world. Yeah, all of those things are part of awakening, because sometimes it's really manifesting on the physical realm that is the soul's biggest growth potential. It's through the physical world, not just in the not doing. So here we are back to the balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's the resting, and then there is the creating. And I love being a creator with people who are interested and deliberate and conscious about what they want to create in their life.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about coaching?
It's kind of like, what's the word? Is it coach, mentor, facilitator? There's way shower. There's the truth teller. There's so many archetypes that I find I embody. To put one label on it, I'm showing up with whoever's in front of me in a way that feels like it can support them. So if it's a coach, I might be giving them more instruction, exercises, practices, and
Yeah.
encouragement. You can do it. But sometimes it's more called for to be the alchemist and just hang with them while they reorient what's going on in their life and come to be able to find and harvest gold out of difficult times.
Mm.
So, but it is an honor, and it is my delight, and it is something I absolutely love, love, love doing. And I'm grateful every day, and I love my clients.
It sounds like you're doing the right work then, right?
Yeah, well, how long have you been in your personal development wellness line of work?
Oh, goodness. When did I start? I'm going to say roughly 10 years
Okay.
without looking. My memory's not great, but
Yeah. And your story similar to mine, right? You had your own healing and then you felt like,
oh, yeah.
yeah.
I had, well, I don't know if it's episode 1 or 2. It might be episode 1 is where I explain to the listeners kind of how I got here and why I do what I do. It's a
Mm,
long story.
what a wow. Wow. I mean, what a beautiful platform you're creating for, I think, conversations that really matter and hopefully help the people who are listening for sure. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm trying. I'm trying. So, Joy, where is the place that you would like them to go? Where can they find out more about you?
Well, my website, asoulinspiredlife.com. Enjoy. There's a resource tab, tons of free resources, energy tune-ups, cool ebooks my husband and I created. So that's like a lovely place of goodies. And then you can also read about my services and watch videos. And then on the social media sites, Instagram and YouTube, Joy Taylor Inspired.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'd love to connect with anyone who wants to play. And I'm so glad we connected. We only met a month ago.
Recently, yeah. Through a webinar. No, it wasn't a webinar.
Yeah.
It was a networking event virtual that you were facilitating. It was for our insurance of all things, people. Our insurance agency for business insurance.
Yeah. Let's give a shout out for Alternative
Alternative
Balance.
balance.
It's a membership organization where insurance is one of the greatest benefits, but their educational platform and the Facebook group and so
Yeah.
many things, including I love facilitating community connections. Yeah, so we met and I'm grateful and this has been lovely. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. Just drop it in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more.